Wife?
We're going to be doing an interviewing thing on Thursday, November 10th.
Somebody wants to talk to us and they want us to talk back.
Yeah, weird, right?
Okay, yeah, so tell me more about it.
Yeah, so we're going to be having a discussion on Twitter Spaces with OK Atheists, and they host a live discussion every week on Twitter. And we will be discussing things like who we are and why we're doing what we're doing and all kinds of stuff. So also at the end of the discussion, there will be a chance for our listeners to ask us questions. So this is a great opportunity for you guys to have a chance to talk with us.
That sounds amazing. What if you don't know how the interwebs work?
You mean like me?
Yeah, I mean.
Well, if I know you, you're going to put links to the OK Atheist Twitter account so that everyone knows where to look for the live feed link. And while we can't add it to every episode, if you're interested in joining us, check out the show notes on this week's episodes, starting with Monday's episode, 1 Chronicles chapter 21.
Sounds great. I can't wait to see everyone there.
Yeah, me too. See you guys on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
Hey friends, it's Mark Bittman, host of Food. If you haven't listened yet, we talk about recipes, of course, and a lot about cooking, but also about injustices in the food system and how America's food policy is moving both forward and backwards. We had climate expert, genius, and all-around great guy Bill McKibben, hilarious writers Samantha Irby and Lindy West, and legendary Gullah Geechee cook Emily Meggett. We've got much more in store for you. Fantastic guests like Alice Waters, Dan Levy, Cory Booker. Plus our customary recipes and, starting soon, commentary or, depending on the day, rants. Please check us out. I'm sure you'll like the podcast. Thanks.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
I'm husband.
And I'm wife.
Together, we're reading the Bible for the very first time.
We grew up without religion and wanted to know what all the fuss was about.
Well, what have we learned so far?
That God is a dick, and apparently some people believe in talking donkeys?
We're not trying to pass ourselves off as experts.
Nope, we're just reading the Bible for the first time and giving our first take reaction.
If you'd like to join us in this venture, you might consider starting at episode 1.
Otherwise, jump in wherever you like.
All right, let's go read the Bible.
Yeah, let's get to it. Husband!
Wife!
Do you remember what happened on Friday?
It was springtime in the time of David, and they were wanting to go kill people because it was the time to kill people.
It was the time. You do it every
wartime.
spring.
Springtime is killing time.
And they killed giants.
They did.
And David was a sweet, sweet psalmist.
Yeah, that too. We also, I think, were near Bathsheba time, and it's possible they skipped it, but maybe they didn't. Maybe we'll find out soon. I don't know.
I don't know.
But this is chroniclers telling, so like you never know what the chronicler's gonna do.
Yeah, you just never know.
Like you got to stay tuned to find out what the chronicler skips and what he doesn't skip.
Because you don't want to make him into a victim.
Right.
Because then he's weak. But you also don't want to make him a bad guy. So you can't talk about his strengths too much.
You're talking about David, right?
Yeah. You can't talk about either his strengths or his weaknesses.
Right. You got to walk that perfect line of perfect David.
Of sweet, sweet psalmist David.
Yeah. So that was 1 Chronicles chapter 20.
Indeed it was.
And today we're going to be reading
1 Chronicles chapter 21.
Let's do this.
Let's.
Hey, wife.
Yes, husband.
Did you know that we are now on Patreon?
Yes, because you told me, but also, no, tell me more.
So we're on Patreon now.
Are we?
We are, and our supporters can go there and support us, and we have multiple levels all the way up to You Killed God.
That sounds really drastic and escalated quickly-ish.
Well, no, there's multiple levels before there, so it escalates on a sliding scale of, cheap to not cheap. Oh. But, we can definitely use any amount, so, any support is always appreciated.
So what exactly is Patreon?
It's a place where you can show your support for our podcast. And
Just our podcast?
any podcast or any performer. But, we're the ones that, you're listening to right now. So maybe you should, support us. That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. But we love you anyway.
So all you got to do is go to Patreon, look up Sacrilegious Discourse. It's actually patreon.com/sacrilegious discourse is our actual main page there. So head on over and send us some love.
Yeah. Okay, First Chronicles chapter 21.
Okay.
Satan.
Satan?
Satan.
Did you say Satan?
I said Satan.
Is this the first mention of Satan?
I believe it is.
Huh.
Satan.
That's fucked up.
This Satan guy.
Just out of nowhere. Like,
Out
they're
of
just
nowhere.
introducing a character, right? They're like, Satan. You know Satan?
You know Satan?
Who the fuck's Satan?
I've never heard of him before. I have not met this fine fellow. Well,
Here he is. I mean, he's in the Bible now.
Whoever he is, he rose up against Israel.
Son of a bitch.
And caused
Fucking
David.
hate it when Satan rises up.
He caused David to take a census of the people of Israel.
Oh, so this is where one of those contradiction things comes in, sort of.
The
Because
devil made him do it.
devil made him do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is why God punished him. So we're still trying to make David look good or reasonable as to why he did things against God here.
Yeah.
So this is part of like the excuse.
The apologist.
Right. Satan.
Yeah.
Like
Satan rose up and made him
definitely. So like I wonder when this time frame was that the chronicler was writing, because Satan is a new fucking word and concept here.
Right.
So this is really weird and kind of cool. I mean, cool in the sense that, now we got Satan.
I think that in our Q&A, we might have to cover some Satan.
I think Satan is definitely on the
It's
docket
on the table.
here. Yeah.
We haven't even got past the first sentence.
We're trying to see how many times we can say Satan.
It's kind of fun. So David said to Joab and the commanders of the army, dudes, take a census of all the fucking people of Israel from Beersheba in the south to Dan in the north and bring me a fucking report so I may know how many there are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do it.
Uh-huh.
But Joab replied, right, but so may the Lord increase the number of his people 100 times over, Like, I'm happy about that, but, like, why, my lord the king, do you want me to do this?
Right, because counting people is stupid.
Are they not all your servants? Question mark.
I mean,
why?
I'm thinking that he wants it so he can collect more tax money. That's usually why there's censuses.
Yeah. Why must you cause Israel to sin? So Joab knows.
Right, but I don't understand why. I didn't understand it then. I don't really understand it now. Why is counting your people a sin?
Well, we covered this in the Q&A back then, because they don't belong to David. They belong to God.
So he's not allowed to count them.
No, because he's counting them for his glory. He's counting them
Oh,
to
when
show...
it's God's glory instead of David's glory.
Yeah, he's counting them to show how awesome he is.
Okay.
They weren't preparing for war or anything. He just was like, he wanted to raise taxes and he wanted to look powerful.
Okay. All right.
And so he was doing it for the wrong reasons.
I guess.
That was what I'm not saying.
No, I know. That's
I'm not
what
saying if I agree. That's just
what the apologists say.
Well,
and
not just the apologists, the scholars who study this would say
sure
that is the obvious answer.
Right.
He did it for the wrong reasons.
Okay. All right.
But the king insisted that they take the fucking census. So Joab traveled throughout all Israel to count the people. He's like, hey, whatever you say, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Then Joab returned to Jerusalem and reported the number of people to David. There were 1,100,000 warriors.
Wow.
In all of Israel who could handle a sword. And 470,000 in Judah. But Joab did not include the tribes of Levi and Benjamin in the census because he was so distressed at what the king had made him do.
Yeah.
So there was actually more people.
There's more, yeah.
Yeah. But he was like, I don't know about all this.
I wonder if that number is the same in the first reading, the million whatever.
It
seems like a large number of people.
Right? Like, I'm really bad with numbers, as you know.
Right.
So I couldn't possibly tell you.
But I'm curious if that's one of the... I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't remember them saying 1 million in the last one, but
me neither. But
maybe I'm just not remembering because I don't remember a lot of things. So.
Exactly. Well, when we do our
Q&A?
No, not just Q&A. The what's it called? Contradictions
Oh,
at the end of this book.
Yeah, we'll probably find out then.
We will have a lot more to cover now that we're in Chronicles.
Right,
so I'm
because
very
we can go
excited.
back and hit the one that they actually reference.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. Because there were so many I had to skip, especially in
Right.
Samuel, because we weren't there yet.
Yeah, no, I got you.
God, I will have you know, was very displeased with the census, and he punished Israel for it, which I find to be bullshit because it was the king that did it, not Israel.
Right. No, I agree. That's like God punishes people for what kings do all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's crap.
That's bullshit.
But then also, God cares about censuses, but not about fucking people dying of cancer.
Right.
Like, come on now.
Yeah.
Jimmy, this is some bullshit. And I saw somebody on Twitter say, this guy that does all these things, if he actually exists, if they actually exist, mm-hmm. then we as a people in this world need to rise up and hunt him down and kill him.
Yeah.
Because
he's a very
fucking
bad
horrible
entity.
Person, thing, whatever.
He's a bad entity.
Right. Why do you give a fuck about a census versus all the other things you could care about?
Right.
Like, that's so
and
stupid.
I'm sorry, but he has a plan, and we're not good enough to understand. That's just not good enough for me.
I'm sorry. Every time I get a whiff of his fucking plan where he doesn't care about this, but he cares about a goddamn census or something.
Or picking up sticks on the wrong goddamn day.
Your plan is fucking stupid, dude.
It doesn't really seem to me like you really know what you're doing.
Right.
And you're kind of just moody.
Yeah,
mercurial as fuck.
Definitely.
So then David said to God, he just called him up on his
He didn't have to
phone.
go through Nathan this time, right?
Nope. He said straight to God. He called him up and he goes, I have sinned greatly by taking this census. Please forgive my guilt for doing this foolish thing.
Yeah.
Does he sound sincere? He's I did it.
You're the one reading it, so I don't know how he said it. Maybe he was more grovelly, you know?
But it just strikes me that he did it and then apologized later. Well, that's the way you do things.
Right.
Right? If you don't want the answer to be no, don't ask permission.
Right.
Then
But, Lord... to spend your whole life asking permission also is kind of a shitty way to have to live your life because there's some, stupid God over here that's going to be like, I didn't want you to count those people.
Right.
What? Seriously, dude?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Then the Lord spoke to Gad, David's seer. So David spoke directly to God, but God was like, I'm not talking to you right now. I'm going to go talk to this other guy.
Right, but they said seer. Doesn't that indicate like a psychic type person?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. This is what the message said. Go and say to David, this is what the Lord says. I will give you 3 choices. Oh, I remember this.
Okay.
It was interesting.
All right.
Choose one of these punishments.
Oh, yeah, I do too.
And I will inflict it upon you.
Right.
So Gad came to David and said, these are the choices the Lord has given you. What I find interesting is that in this telling, we don't have to read God tell Gad what they are, and then Gad tell him, and so
right, they tightened it up a little bit.
Yeah, well, normally up until excuse me, up until now, the chronicler breaks this chain because up until now everything is repeated. That's the way that they did it to show. I don't know, the oral tradition required it or some stupid shit to help them remember it.
Well, they probably helped to solidify it in your brain by saying it over and over again.
And it was very sing-songy and stuff like that probably too. But they repeated everything. That's how one of the ways that they could tell that it was a different author.
Right.
Because this guy didn't say, he didn't have God spell it out to Gad and then Gad spell it out to David.
Right.
They skipped that part, which is nice.
I mean, yeah.
But then I just spent the entire time going on about it, so it didn't save me a single breath.
No.
Okay, you may choose 3 years of famine, 3 months of destruction by the sword of your enemies, or 3 days of severe plague as the angel of the Lord brings devastation throughout the land of Israel. Decide what answer I should give the Lord who sent me. Ugh, I'm in a desperate situation, David replied to Gad. But let me fall into the hands of the Lord, for his mercy is very great. Do not let me fall into human hands. So the Lord sent a plague upon Israel, and 70,000 people died as a result.
That's some bullshit.
Right, but we did cover that in our Q&A.
I know, it's still bullshit.
It made sense insofar as any of this makes sense.
It doesn't make any fucking sense why God punishes all of Israel for David.
No, totally, I agree.
It does not make any sense.
I agree. And God sent an angel to destroy Jerusalem. But just as the angel was preparing to destroy it, the Lord relented. Because he changes his mind sometimes.
Right.
Even though they say he doesn't.
As I recall, it was David actually like pleaded with him or something, wasn't it?
I don't remember. But the Lord relented and said to the death angel, "Stop, that's enough." At that moment, the angel of the Lord was standing by the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite. David looked up and saw the angel of the Lord standing between heaven and earth with his sword drawn, reaching out over Jerusalem. So David and the leaders of Israel put on burlap to show their deep distress.
Yeah.
And fell face down on the ground. I always put on a potato sack.
Yeah.
When I'm upset.
But it's interesting how they stopped. Or God stopped the Lord. In this telling of it, God stopped the Lord before they put the burlap on.
God stopped the angel.
God stopped the angel before they put the burlap on. I think it was the other way in the last one.
You're probably right. I don't remember.
I mean, it would make more sense that they groveled before God stopped, you know? Yeah.
And David said to God, "I am the one who called for the census. I am the one who has sinned and done wrong. But these people are as innocent as sheep. What have they done? O Lord my God, let your anger fall against me and my family, but do not destroy your people."
Yeah, I think it would make more sense if they're trying to give glory to God, right? That they would make God make the decision before David grovels to him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's maybe why they put that in that order.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know.
I don't know either, but...
Then the angel of the Lord told Gad to instruct David to go up and build an altar to the Lord on the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite. That's where they were.
Right.
So David went up to do what the Lord had commanded him through Gad. Araunah, who was busy threshing wheat at the time, turned and saw the angel there. He's like, I'm just chopping down my wheat. I got my wheat sickle, and I'm sickling my wheat, chopping down my wheat. And then I turn around, what the fuck? There's a fucking angel standing there. Holy shit. I mean, what would you do? Like, you're just going about your business, like...
Well, I mean, if I saw an angel, my whole life would fucking change, obviously.
I would be like, hold on. I've seen Supernatural. Are you a good angel or a bad angel? I've also seen... what's the one with David Tennant and Michael Sheen?
Good Omens.
Good Omens. So, like, are you one of the officious guys that, don't care and you're just trying to follow the, what is it? The
ineffable
plan. The ineffable plan? Yeah. Or are you like Michael Sheen and you just like bookstores and wine?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Turned and saw the angel there. His 4 sons who were with him ran away and hid.
That's probably smart.
Yeah. But when Araunah saw David approaching, he left his threshing floor and bowed before David, who was wearing a potato sack, with his face to the ground. David said to Araunah, "Let me buy this threshing floor from you at its full price. Then I will build an altar to the Lord there so that he will stop this plague." "Take it, my lord the king, and use it as you wish," Araunah said to David. "I'll give the oxen for the burnt offerings and the threshing boards for wood to build a fire on the altar and the wheat for the grain offering. I will give it all to you." Because he's like, there's an angel.
And a king.
Yeah. Like, no, you totally can have it. The end.
Right. An angel and a king show up and they ask for things. You give it to them.
Give it to them. But King David replied to Araunah, "No, I insist on buying it for the full price. I will not take what is yours and give it to the Lord. I will not present burnt offerings that have cost me nothing."
I think that we talked about it at the time. That was a good thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as, things in the Bible go.
Yeah.
Don't let the guy just give you all of his shit.
Right.
That's fucking crap.
Right. Well, I like the way it's phrased here. It was not phrased this way in the first go-round, where he says, "I will not give something to the Lord that cost me nothing." Like, that's not a sacrifice.
Right,
that's
right.
Just lip service.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah. So David gave Araunah 600 pieces of gold in payment for the threshing floor. I hope that was a good price.
Yeah, right.
David built an altar there to the Lord and sacrificed burnt offerings and peace offerings. And when David prayed, the Lord answered him by sending fire from heaven to burn up the offering on the altar.
Wow. It's amazing.
Fire, huh?
I'd have loved to have seen that.
I've seen fire and I've seen rain.
Right? Yeah.
Then the Lord spoke to the angel who put the sword back in its sheath. Like, Stop, Angel. Put your
But he
fucking
told him
sword
to stop
away.
before they even had this discussion, according to
know.
this section.
I know. Weird.
Whatever.
Very weird.
Yeah.
Okay, just a little bit more left here.
Okay.
When David saw that the Lord had answered his prayer, he offered sacrifices there at Araunah's threshing floor. At that time, the tabernacle of the Lord and the altar of burnt offering that Moses has made in the wilderness were located at the place of worship in Gibeon. But David was not able to go there to inquire of God because he was terrified by the drawn sword of the angel of the Lord. The end.
I mean, I'd be terrified that I saw a fucking angel in the first place. So, especially one with a goddamn sword.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I wonder if that's where, like, the sword of Damocles comes from. Are you familiar with that story?
I've heard of it. I don't know much. No.
I don't know the whole story, but it's like you're dreading it falling on you, and that is punishment in and of itself.
Got it.
Without the sword actually falling on you.
Gotcha.
It's also, I think, similar to the millstone around your neck, or I forget. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of them, that parables and whatever, that are all the same.
Sure. Okay. Well, that was 1 Chronicles chapter 21.
It sure as fuck was.
And tomorrow we will be back with
1 Chronicles chapter 22.
All right. We'll see you guys then.
Bye.
Hey, wife. I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep, we have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegiousdiscourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.
I've gotten to see so many more shows than I normally would because of how quickly and easily I can get tickets through Today Tix. Today Tix has amazing prices for some of the best theater I've ever seen. They also have a huge cyber sale coming November 18th with savings of up to 50% off. See that show you've always wanted to see or discover something new that you'll love just as much for even less. Go to todaytix.com/todaytixnyc and use promo code TodayTixNYC to get $10 off your first Today Tix purchase. That's promo code TodayTixNYC at todaytix.com/todaytixnyc for an additional $10 off your first ticket purchase.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
GM, I'm Dan Roberts.
And I'm Jeff Roberts.
And this is
GM from Decrypt.
This podcast is a conversation, one each episode with the biggest names in crypto. And you're definitely going to want to hear what they have to say. But Jeff, what are we going to ask them about?
Well, Dan, I thought we could start with NFTs.
Oh yeah, NFTs. I heard NFTs are DOA, or maybe they're just MIA.
Oh yeah, and what about the battle between BTC and ETH?
Well, was that too many acronyms for one trailer? Don't worry. We'll talk through all this and more on our new show, GM from Decrypt.
You can find us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe now so you don't miss a single one. GM.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.